Today we're going to do the upper body portion of our 2 days worth of weightlifting split in our 3-day workout. So just for a reminder that we have a split, we're doing essentially upper body, lower body, and then 1 day of high intensity interval training. We also call this a push-pull routine because you're essentially on 1 day you're doing push exercises, on the other day you're kind of doing pull exercises. A couple different nicknames for it, but legs, back, and biceps and abs were the core exercises in the other day. Today's exercises are going to be chest, shoulders, and triceps. So these are all exercises that you're going to work by pushing, with essentially doing pushing movements like our first movement, which is going to be the bench press. So these two workouts with weights give you the resistance portion of your workout, just a basic workout that you can do for resistance, where you're not overtraining and you're not undertraining. You're using the basic movements to get enough stimulation to increase muscle mass, increase strength, and to help you feel better. The high intensity interval training day works your whole body, potentially all your muscles, and you also get cardiovascular strength training as well, because doing high intensity interval training works your heart and your lungs. So with that, we're going to get started. Okay, so basic bench press. Once again, just like with squats, you need to warm up. You need to warm up your muscles. So in this case, I'm going to warm up with the weight. It's just going to be a light weight that it's comfortable for me to warm up with. Just works better for me on upper body exercises to warm up with the weight. So, but if you don't want to do that, you can do jumping jacks. You can do any kind of movement. If you like to do karate, you can do the punch kick routine. Just things like that get your blood circulating before you start jumping in and pushing a bunch of weight around. So this basic setup here, I'm going to lay down here and kind of explain what I'm doing. Almost every Olympic bar like this, every standard barbell has markings on it so that you can space your hands evenly so that you're not way off to one side or the other. So the idea is you want your forearms to be more or less perpendicular to the floor, perpendicular to your upper arm when you start the lift. You don't want to be like this where there's a big angle that you're overcoming. You don't want to be way out there. You want to be pretty much perpendicular, and that's going to get you the most biomechanical advantageous position. And then where you bring the weight down is also important. You don't want to be, I'm going to go ahead and unrack this now just so you can see. Take it up in there. You don't want to be taking it down on your stomach down there. You want to be coming a nice, comfortable, right about across the middle of your chest. And for me, this is just 135 pounds. It makes a nice warm up. And I don't do real heavy benches anymore. But this exercise works your triceps, your front delts, and your chest, so you get a lot of benefit. Plus, you get all the stabilization things that keep you from tipping over side to side, back and forth. So that's the importance of these bigger core movements like squats, bench press, etc., is that there's a lot of stabilization muscles that come into play when you're doing these lifts. So you benefit more than just like an isolation movement, such as a dumbbell curl, where the only thing you're working is a bicep. So important lift. Again, the same routine with this one is do 3 to 4 sets, work yourself up to where you're going to max out with maybe 4 or 5, 6 reps, a weight that pretty much stops you there. And then I always like to do kind of a purging rep after, or a purging set after I'm done, where I'll go back to this weight and just pump out 10 or 15 reps just to kind of, I don't know, I just like the purge. So, okay, so that's the bench press. We're we're moving on to dumbbell incline presses. Again, all these exercises there's ways to duplicate them without weights if you don't have access to weights. An incline press could be duplicated in a push-up by elevating your feet on a chair or on a countertop or whatever you have to get yourself in a position where you're pushing in the same direction as you would be in this exercise that we're about to do here. Another thing I'd like to throw in right now is the importance of doing these, if you're going to work out with weights, focusing on the major lifts like the bench, the squat, etc. It's about efficiency. You're stimulating your muscles with every exercise that you do. If you spend a lot of time with the little movements like barbell curls, like little triceps press downs, all the little minute where you're only working one particular muscle at a time, you're probably, especially as you're getting older, you're probably wasting an awful lot of time and resources, your body's resources in doing that. Where by doing these kinds of exercises, you're combining a whole group of muscles into one exercise, and you can put maximal effort into that and get maximal stimulation. I learned something, and again, this is very important, especially as you're getting older, but even when I was in my late 20s, I used to work out with my nephew who was in his teens, and I was psychotic about it. I would work out day after day after day, just trying to increase my bench press, trying to get stronger, and I had plateaued. I just couldn't seem to make any progress, couldn't gain weight. And my nephew, who was several years younger than me, would work out with me, but he was very erratic about how often he would work out because he was in party mode back then. He was a teenager and it was game on for him. So he would only show up about maybe a third of the times that I was working out. And yet, he continued to get stronger. Each time he'd show up, even after quite a spell of being off, he would be stronger. And it just astonished me that was happening with him. But I took a lesson from that and I decided to change my training and back off. And sure enough, when I trained less, I got stronger and I got bigger. So that was clear back then. Again, and that's when your hormones, everything's going good and you should be able to really tear it up. But now at 64 years old, I understand that less can be more. You got to go in, go hard, get your stimulation, and not overdo it, not underdo it, and then give yourself time to recover. So enough on that. So now back to dumbbell incline presses. So this works more of the upper part of your chest, kind of helps fill out your chest, your pec muscles, and it also puts a lot of emphasis on your front deltoids and also your triceps, and again, all the stabilization muscles, because these dumbbells are going to want to go everywhere unless you control them. So basic, simple exercises. I've elevated the back of my bench up to a slight incline here, and I use a heavy enough weight that it's easier for me to kick them up there with my legs, so I set them on my legs. And you can make this, even if you only have one set of dumbbells, you can go out much wider and make it harder, or go in close and make it potentially easier. But the same basic rep scheme, I usually throw in about 3 sets of these just to kind of finish off my chest, my upper chest, and my front deltoids. And again, by the time you're done with this, you've worked your triceps pretty nicely as well, and all the stabilization muscles that are keeping these from falling sideways, keeping me on the bench here. Okay, so dumbbell incline presses, simple exercise, very effective. Okay, next thing on our hit parade is dips. Now, dips are another kind of like chins. They're a little bit difficult for a lot of people, so you might have to do a modified version. This particular dip bar has a thing you can step up on, so if you can't do them, you could always just let yourself down, push yourself up with your legs and let yourself down, something like that. You can also use a chair under your butt and just push yourself up and down off of a chair. And then as you get stronger, you can raise your legs up, make it a little harder, work your way up gradually to doing a full dip. This exercise is really good for, it works the lower part of your chest, kind of helps your pecs stand out a little bit, but it's really very good on your triceps in particular. It also gets your shoulders involved. So again, this exercise is a big combo exercise, and it's one of the exercises like a squat that moves your whole body through space. Squats, chins, dips, and just there's something synergistic, something that's very effective about moving your entire body through space. It seems like it stimulates your body more. So dips, basic simple exercise. They're really, really powerful on your triceps, and you'll feel them in your chest and your shoulders. But the big benefit here is you're kind of finishing off your triceps along with your chest. So great exercise. Really, triceps is what gives your arm the most size. Biceps are nice. Triceps gives you the bulk of the mass for your, so great exercise for that. 3 sets, and this is not a weighted, although you can make it a weighted exercise. When you're really strong, you can get a weight belt, hang some weights off you, and you can do a weighted exercise. But this is kind of a as many reps as possible thing. 8 to 10 for me is a good round, and I'll do 3 sets, and then we'll be done. We'll go on to shoulders. Okay, our next exercise is dumbbell lateral raises. So this is primarily a shoulder exercise, and if you didn't have dumbbells, you could do this with a couple of milk jugs full of water, or any 2 things that you can grab in your hands that have weight to them. Very simple movement. Start with the dumbbells either at your sides or in front, and we're not using momentum. We're not throwing these things up, but we're basically just raising them up and bringing them back down. Simple as that. Raising them up, bringing them back down. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Simple exercise. I know these were all simple exercises, and that's kind of the point of it. Keep it simple. There's no reason to complicate fitness, and fitness just isn't a complicated thing. It's about progressively overloading your muscles so that and then getting adequate rest so that they can come back stronger than they were before you progressively overloaded them. Simple process. I really wanted to make the point that you don't need a bunch of exotic equipment, all kinds of fancy stuff in a gym. In fact, you don't even need what I've got here. You can do this with, you can do it with body weight. You can find ways to progressively make it harder to do even body weight exercises. But this is a nice way, these 3 routines in this series are just a nice way to work out with weights in a gym environment and get your core needs met. Again, I mean, even look at how I'm dressed. I'm just wearing a t-shirt, blue jeans. I don't even have on typical workout clothing. So there's no need to make it complicated. In fact, I got in a very effective workout today while I was filming this video. So just like I am. I appreciate you watching my videos, and if you get value from them, please share them, like, and subscribe, because it helps me continue to bring more content and hopefully bring you more value. Thanks for watching.